Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another update, and also happy start to a brand new week. And if you are watching this on release date, hopefully everyone had a great Easter. However, this video will be relevant even if you are watching this into the future, because the story right now, as many of you guys may or may not know, is that there are now many different fourth stimulus check proposals that are going on, and these are proposals that are actually applying on the federal level, meaning that they're actually relatable to all 50 states. However, the story is that even though we do have a lot of federal programs that are going on, which is the really great news, and I did make another video which I'll put at the very end screen that really details all of the different proposals to maybe finally simplify it in just one video to really get what's going on with everything going on right now. But the story is that while that is true, the backup plan is that there are also now a lot of individual states that have now come out in order to do their own version of a state fourth stimulus check. So what's going to happen is that if you happen to live in one of these states, it is very possible that you're going to be able to get a stimulus check there, and then if it does approve on the federal level, you actually will potentially get 2/4. So in other words, maybe in this case you can even count it as a special fifth stimulus check. In fact, some of these states, the programs, have actually even already been approved, which is the really great news. So in today's update, I just want to talk about very particular states that currently have some kind of stimulus. I think regardless, even if you are, I mean, they do, apply to a lot of people, but I think at the end of the day, if we don't get to your state, it probably means that it's relatively quiet right now. But I think hopefully we can at least feel, some level of relief that at least we have other fellow Americans that are maybe at least getting help. And that at the end of the day, it really just shows what's possible and maybe what can potentially come to even more states in the future. So, of course, we're going to run through all of that. But as always, real fast, 10 seconds before we begin the same exact drill, consider smashing the like button if you guys hopefully enjoy videos. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts, or honestly just really anything maybe by the end of this video. It's always great to say hi to new and familiar faces. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So the story to what's happening right now is that, as most of you guys know, as just mentioned, is that there are proposals that apply to all 50 states. I'll put a video at the very end screen if you're interested and haven't checked it out. But in terms of very specific states, we'll just run through them. Is that the first state that we're going to talk about is going to be in New Mexico. Now, the really great news is that in New Mexico, the program that they currently have there is actually already approved. So that is the really great news. In fact, it's actually specifically stated that in New Mexico right now, they're going to essentially be doing a $500 and a $1,000 stimulus check, $500 specifically for singles and $1,000 for married couples. What is really cool about this stimulus check is that it definitely applies to a very wide demographic of people. There is an income requirement, but I believe it's something in like the upper 5 digits, which basically means that most people, especially if you are really particularly going through something right now, this is going to be relevant. I do believe is that what they're going to do in terms of delivering the payments is that they're going to be splitting it up into 2. So what that basically means is that if you qualify for the $500 stimulus check, they're going to be sending a $250 stimulus check now, and then a $250 stimulus check later. And then if you qualify for the $1,000 stimulus check, or if they, because it's a couple, if both people collectively qualify for the $1,000 stimulus check, they will be able to get $500 and then $500. And the really great news, even what's special about this, is that they even gave a specific timeline that they promise, according to the governor there, that they want to deliver all of these checks by the date of June 30th, 2022, all of them. So what's really great is that at least we have some kind of time frame that we know what to work with. And it's wild because that's actually in just a little bit over 2 months, which is wild because it means that at least we know it's hopefully going to come relatively soon, assuming that they end up staying on schedule. Now, the next state that we're really going to be talking about is going to be in the state of Maryland and Georgia. So what's really cool is that in Maryland and Georgia right now, they don't necessarily have a specific stimulus check per se that they will be giving, but what they are actually interestingly going to be doing is that they've actually already approved a program where they're going to be halting the state gas taxes. So what this essentially means is that for anyone that drives, and I know Maryland and Georgia are definitely both states where they have a lot of particular drivers, is that what they're going to do is that they're going to waive the taxes, and it's estimated that for most people this is going to save them around 30-40 cents per average per gallon. So essentially, if let's say every session you refilled your car by about 10 gallons, it's going to save about $4 to $5. Now that might not sound like a lot of money, but the big thing is that if you happen to be a driver of some kind, especially if you maybe have a job that actually does involve driving, so for example, if you are a truck driver, a delivery person, maybe you work in the film industry and you have to carry lots of equipment. I'm biased because I actually do work in the film industry outside of this. But the big idea is that if you work something that involves a lot of driving, this could really potentially add up and lead to potentially about a couple $100 saved. And so the really great news is first off is that it's meant to save a lot of money. But second of all, is that it's actually approved. And that is the really great news about it. Now, with that being said, is that there are several states that are trying to now follow these footsteps, which is again the reason why we always say it's cool to maybe understand what's happening in other states, because it means that it shows what's possible, and also that maybe other states can potentially follow. So for example, one thing that actually is admittedly a proposal right now is in the state of New Jersey and Michigan. So it's really cool about over there. Now this one admittedly is a proposal, but what they really want to do in both of these states is that they're hoping to try to roll back a lot of the prices through a new bill that was written. So as in two separate bills. There's one bill in Jersey, there's one bill in Michigan, where they're going to try to propose to give people a tax credit, which is pretty much a stimulus check actually. Valued somewhere between $250 to $500, and again, because stimulus checks is a tax credit at the end of the day, which is the great news because it means you don't have to pay taxes and everything's up for keeps. So what they want to do is that they want to try to do a program to give somewhere between $250 to $500 to their residents in New Jersey. Michigan, I know, is trying to do their own kind of program. I don't think they specifically released the amount, but it's estimated to be pretty much about a couple $100. But of course, because this is still a proposal, we have to physically say what ends up happening. If you guys are brand new here, maybe consider subscribing, so if we do get more information, you guys can definitely learn about it. But with that being said, there are also actually a lot of other proposals that are, that we have to mention. So for example, the next state that we are going to be talking about is going to be traveling all the way down south now to the state of Oklahoma. So in Oklahoma, the story is that there is a stimulus program, and this one admittedly is actually a proposal, but they are pretty much hoping to do $150 for singles and $250 for married couples. This is admittedly one of the smaller fourth stimulus check programs, but I think the big reason is because for this particular program, they really want to use this program specifically really targeted, intended for people to spend it on gas. So a lot of the other programs, what's really cool is that they are all inspired by something related to gas, but you don't necessarily have to spend it on gas. It's just more that they intend for you to, spend it there, but they want to make it equal. So if you really ideally want to spend it on other things, you can also potentially do that. Again, this depends on the state, because some states are actually very specific, but other states are a lot more loose. But in Oklahoma, I think the reason why they really made the dollar amount a lot less is because they do actually genuinely want to focus it on just getting people to specifically spend it to help really be able to control all of the gas prices. So I think with that, I think we covered about like 4 or 5 states. But the other rest of the states that we have to really mention, and we're just going to just run through the states, is going to essentially be in several states. We're going to start with, basically, it's going to be in the state of California, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. So these 4 states are pretty much looking to try to do some kind of program where they're going to suspend the gas tax. Now, right now in those particular 4 states, California, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, they are thinking about doing a program related, but it is still a little bit unclear about which specific method they want to take. Because as just mentioned again in one of the previous videos, which will be at the end screen, we talk about several federal programs that are going on, but within these federal programs, there are also a lot of different tactics, strategies, and methods for how they can try to put money in our pockets. Or, for example, some of these programs are not necessarily meant to put money directly in their pockets, but they're more meant to take less money out of people's pockets so they can pretty much save money in other kinds of means. So in a lot of ways, at the end of the day, the net balance on a bank account will still end up being the same. They're either going to, for example, give you $500, or they're going to help cover $500 in another area. But the idea is that your bank account will be spared of $500 of just money you either now don't have to pay, or that you do have to pay, but that they will give you money to cover it also at the very, very end of the day. But of course, those 4 states are actually some of the states where it's not just even a proposal, but at this point it's really much more of a thought, but definitely consideration. They're definitely considering it, but it is still relatively a thought where they're waiting for information on the very, very specifics about what they actually will physically do, what method, what strategy, what bill, and everything related to that world. But of course, above all, I think the really, really great news is that at least they are making progress. And I think that's the really big thing. Again, some are actually already approved, so that is very, very legit and significant. Others are still in a proposal stage, and others are kind of just in the idea stage. But of course, as we get more information, we hope to potentially share more. So with that being said, if you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, consider smashing the like button if you guys haven't done so already. Of course, it's greatly appreciated. And as always, feel free to comment any maybe questions, personal thoughts, or honestly just really anything. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.